So the talking point being trotted out right now about Elon is that if you support getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, then you would support him and DOGE's mission. And it makes sense on its face. In fact, that's a mission that I agree with. But here's why what Elon is doing undermines his own stated goals. Think about where he started. Agencies like USAID and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Let's start with USAID. Probably helpful to begin with this point. The USAID Inspector General was investigating how Musk's SpaceX Starlink satellite terminals that were purchased with agency funds were used in Ukraine's war over Russia. So Elon was under investigation by the very agency that he immediately moved to dismantle. Already reads as a pretty massive conflict of interest. But let's get into the practical implications of that move. USAID costs about 0.5% of the federal budget. It offers essential life-saving programs around the world like clean water and HIV prevention, already unto themselves worth it. But it's not just that. Just as importantly, from a geopolitical perspective, it is a tool for American soft power. When you hand out medicine or food with an American flag slapped on the label, you buy goodwill around the world. That is goodwill you can cash in on during conflicts, for favorable trade terms, for military or intelligence purposes, to build up alliances. So it's a win-win. It's doubly as beneficial. But by dismantling that agency, not only do we leave actual human beings hanging across the world, which will absolutely have real-life impacts on people who require medical care, who require water, who require food, but we also lose an inexpensive but effective tool for soft power. And guess what country is going to fill that void? China. They've got what's called the Belt and Road Initiative. That involves more than 150 countries and organizations. And when the U.S. moves out, by virtue of dismantling USAID, China moves in. That means that when it comes to trade, when it comes to alliances, when it comes to cooperation, when it comes to minerals, deference is paid not to the U.S., but to China. Does that seem like it's in our national interest? Not really, no. But you know whose interest that is in? Perhaps a billionaire who's invested a lot of time building up his portfolio in China. Tesla's Shanghai plant opened in 2019. It's the company's largest factory. It accounts for half of Tesla's global car production. So Elon has a vested interest in kowtowing to China. In other words, while dismantling USAID hurts America, it is a gift to the country that Elon stands to benefit from helping. And, by the way, it ends an investigation into his own possible corruption. Bad for America, good for Elon. Another example, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Elon tweeted, CFPB RIP. Now, I want to be clear about what it is the CFPB does. It literally exists to protect consumers from predatory banks and financial institutions. Its budget is about $800 million, but it's returned over $21 billion, with a B, to 205 million consumers so far. It sent 6.8 million consumer complaints to companies for response. 63 million unique visitors used their tool Ask CFPB. That's an online resource for answers to a variety of common financial questions. And the CFPB levied a historic $2 billion fine in one single enforcement action against Wells Fargo for mismanaging auto loans, mortgage loans, and deposit accounts. This agency, again, quite literally only exists to help consumers. The sole result of this move is that Americans will have no recourse when they get screwed over by a bank. $800 million in an annual budget for a $21 billion return. Are you kidding me? With the USAID example, at least I could figure out how Elon could derive some financial benefit. But this one, I don't even see the upside for him. It is a handout to predatory banks. There is no upgrade for anyone other than financial institutions that are looking to screw people over. And so look, again, getting back to the thesis of this thing, I am absolutely in favor of rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse. But when you start off by dismantling an agency that just so happens to be investigating you, an agency that costs barely anything, an agency that offers invaluable resources to the world, an agency that affords us major soft power benefits, and another agency whose entire purpose is to help victims of financial crimes, then the message that you're sending is that you're not actually serious about your own stated mission. That, like so much else that the Republicans do, is nice branding, but once you dig in an inch beneath the surface, there is nothing there. I mean, hell, the Pentagon has failed 7 audits in a row. 7 audits! You've got an agency that is the poster child for financial mismanagement, but you start off with the CFPB? That is why Elon's commission looks, sounds, and smells like a sham. Because thus far, the biggest beneficiary isn't working-class Americans, it's not Trump's voters, it's not Americans more broadly, but rather Elon Musk himself. You don't get credit for rooting out abuse if your execution raises more questions than it answers.